Vanik, welcome to 69 Faces of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for taking the time.
So let's begin with when did Vanik form and what was the concept for this band?
2016. The concept was just basically 100% everything I like. You know, whether with horror and heavy metal. So I wanted to compile all the art, concepts, music all in the one project, and that's Vanik. It's just my perspective.
The first album, that almost came out instantly. You want to show it?
Yeah, right here.
That's the first album. Tell us about this record.
This was a fun one to do. I mean, this is kind of what started it all. It started with that image, which is the tattoo. And I knew I had that, so I figured when I did a solo record, I would use that as the cover. But yeah, we did that all in like a weekend, you know, really quick, and I wanted it to sound that way, just to be just very rock and roll kind of feel. But in 2016, we did that, and Van Records in Germany put it out. They put out an LP and a CD. LP would be orange and black, splatter, and a black version.
So what response did it generate?
Great. I actually, a lot of the crossover fans loved it, you know. So I guess from what I've heard, I guess it was good. I don't know, maybe other people heard differently.
Also, looking at the front cover of this album, there's already an image which is instantly recognizable with you. You want to maybe explain what that is? Is that some kind of a mascot? Does it have a name?
Yeah, Vanik. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, it started from a well, it actually started from a mask.
You know, you might want to show the tattoo because I think...
Yeah, this one right here. Everybody sees it.
That's right.
This guy right there, except it's green.
Yep.
This is orange.
Yep.
There you go. See a similarity?
The dentist can confirm the dental record.
Well, this one has cavities.
Okay.
As we can see, I had to pull a tooth right here. The last one was extracted. I think this was A13 or whatever they're called.
That's right.
Yeah.
When the album came out, were you able to do any shows, any tours? How did it work out?
No. Well, see, in 2016, actually, we started kind of gearing up to do a lot more with Midnight. So, you know, for me, it was a matter of I did the record. I didn't really have any, you know, I didn't think about any shows. I just thought about doing this sound and creating a package deal like this to kind of complete it. And I didn't know, you know, if I were to do any shows. I didn't do a show until a year after.
Now, you kind of mentioned this other band, Midnight.
Yeah.
Tell us a thing or two about that, your involvement.
Yeah, Midnight is a cool band. You know, they play music that you might enjoy.
Yeah.
And I know nothing else.
There's another band you're in called Vandalist.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Vandalist is a band with my brother. It's funny because that project started about the same time this did. So I was actually it kind of continued that way. I would work on a Vanik record during the Halloween season, and the rest of the year we would do a Vandalist record, you know, during the Halloween off season. So there's always a record happening over here, and then a Vandalist record happening over here.
Right. So then you had your, was it Vanik 2 was the second album, or the
Yes.
Sounds of Samhain coming first?
So Sounds of Samhain was like an EP.
EP.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
That was kind of like my introduction to doing like Halloween scary sounds stuff. You know what I mean? That was like, the idea was to do like a cassette tape like you would buy in the 80s at Mark's or like one of those places where, you know, it's spooky sounds, and it would, you know, have the packaging with the cassette tape in there. So I did that with that, and I didn't really know where it was going to go. I just kind of like, you know what, I'll just keep it part of the Vanik catalog because it's all Vanik, you know, it's all me.
But I think it kind of added the theme of Halloween to Vanik. Don't you agree?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It definitely brought it more of a holiday kind of gig.
All right, so Vanik 2, let's show it and see.
So Sounds of Samhain and then Vanik 2.
Vanik 2. Once again, we have the image, which is you have your own like a little Eddie.
Yes. Yeah, you know, I had so much fun with the first one, you know, that right away I'm like, let's do a second one. So to backtrack, this first record had Al Biddle, who played with Toxic Holocaust, Rammer. He played with a bunch of bands. And Ed Stevens, another one. He played with the band Ring. He plays with Ringworm. He plays on a million Cleveland bands. But it was like I wanted to get some musicians together and just never practice, get in the room and record. And we did that with this. And then this was the second album we did, Dark Season. Did it the same fashion, kind of plug and play kind of deal. You know, nothing, no overproduction going on.
At this point, with 2 records and a cassette available, any live shows?
Yes. So with Vanik 2 is when we started. So, well, just before it. So we started in between Vanik 1 and Vanik 2. So I guess Sounds of Samhain when that came out. Mm-hmm. We did 2 shows. We did a show in Cleveland and Toronto, and that was it. Those were great with Acid Witch.
What was the live presentation like? I mean, what approach did you take?
Those 2 shows I did as a 4-piece band. So I brought in, well, Vic Stone played on this on second guitar, and he did the live shows for those 2. And it's just basically I have a huge vision. But, you know, I'm slowly chipping away at getting it to the grand vision, I guess.
Care to share that vision?
Well, I mean, it's just a production. I mean, this is more, to me, like a theatrical type of band. Like, you know, with some of the other bands, like, you know, Midnight or Vandalist or whatever, just plug in and play rock and roll, you know, the amp's all you need. You know, this one, it's a little more, I want the aesthetic to be, you know, a little grander than just, you know, 4 guys in jeans.
With 2 albums under your belt at that point, are you gaining any more audience?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Like, the first one gained a nice little cult following that I ran into doing the second one. And the second one, I felt like wasn't as good as the first one. I really liked how the first one turned out. The second one has some good songs on it, but it wasn't as strong, so.
What did you think went wrong for the second one?
Well, I kind of rushed it. I'm like, you know, I love the first one. So when I had that little bit of opportunity to write and record, I did it. And it was quick. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't up to par, I thought, as the first one.
So there comes Vanik 3, right?
Wait a minute.
Is there something else?
There is one more.
There's
Actually,
one more.
At the same time I did Vanik 2, I did not just an EP of the Sounds of Samhain, I did a full record with it. So it actually came with Vanik 2. It's called Tricks and Treats.
That's right.
Vanik Sounds of Samhain, Tricks and Treats. Mm-hmm. That album, it's a full 35-minute album, but it's geared more towards the Halloween sound effects.
So once again, the Halloween theme.
Yes. So I kind of packaged those both together.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you got things right because you were not happy with Vanik 2? Were you completely happy with Tricks?
Yeah, Tricks and Treats was cool because it was, you know, this one, you know, maybe lacked in something, so that kind of helped fill it up a little better. But what really brought it together was the next release. To me, I thought that was a perfect. It's my favorite release, I think, to date. Vanik 3.
The funny thing is, you know, a lot of your audience don't even know that you may not be happy with certain records.
Yeah.
Yet the CD of Vanik 2 sold out completely. So
yeah, that was released through Shadow Kingdom, and I got so many copies, and I think at some point they got, you know, they blew them out or whatever, and I didn't end up ever getting any more. So yeah, that was kind of it with that one.
Yeah, is that ever coming back?
I would think so, yeah. Same with the first one. I plan to do another vinyl release because those vinyls were gone years ago. Mm-hmm. So
cool. Well, then let's go on to Vanik 3.
Vanik 3, this
Vanik
one
3.
right
There it
here.
is.
Yeah, this one I really enjoyed making. I mean, it was a different lineup change. I scaled it down to a 3-piece. You know, because I originally wanted to try to do a first couple live shows, and before this, by the way, we did do one show in Chicago. And I did that as a 4-piece because I wasn't used to playing and singing at the same time. So.
Was that the show with Professor Black?
Yes.
Okay.
Vandalist also played that weekend.
And I saw the second night, so
Yes.
I missed Vanik because I missed the first night.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
For
because
me.
Professor Black did 2 nights.
Uh-huh.
We did the first, and I think Vandalist the second, or vice versa.
Let's get back to this.
So this one, yeah, it has Steve on drums. Was a different, not Al Biddle, just because, you know, he's a Canadian drummer, and at the time it was just hard to kind of. This was done in 2020, so if you could figure out how hard it would have been for a Canadian to get to the States, it is pretty difficult. So Steve, actually the drummer who played with Midnight for years, played on this one, and I just felt like the songs are strong. I wrote them all kind of close together within the same time frame, and I just feel like there's something there that I can't explain it. It just worked well.
Where would you say you are at musically at this point with this album?
With this album?
Yeah.
You know, the first one I went in with no idea what I was going to come out with. I never sang on anything before. I never, wrote everything completely, with vocals. So it was one, and then two, maybe I tried different things with two that I just wasn't sure how it was going to work. And then I felt like everything fell into place with this one. I was happy with the vocals, music, tones, production, everything. It was just word the way I like it. Medium well.
Were you tempted to move with Vanik full time?
No, I mean, it's just fun. I'm not really even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if people like it, I like it. I'm just having fun putting these out. I have a physical copy of a CD and vinyl, so it's just like, that's good enough for me. If I can take it beyond that, sure. Mm-hmm. But, Midnight's, my main thing, so I make sure I have to focus everything.
How would you describe your fan base at this point?
I would like to think that it's more of a cult fan base. I mean, the people, it's the same people who buy all my stuff. I think with Vanik 3 I gained a little bit more. I felt like that one did the best, sales-wise and, just getting out there. So I think people like, the stuff I do, like with the tapes, with the Halloween kind of cassettes. I made masks, I've made all kinds of stuff. I just like to do unique stuff with this project.
Mm-hmm. You didn't stop there, there's a live recording.
Yeah.
Live recording, so
it's funny because we did this record in 2020, and later that year we played live. We couldn't play any live shows at the end of 2020.
That's right, pandemic.
So we just did like a little small show at the studio and filmed it, and this is the result. So it was cool to finally be able to play those songs, and we did that show as a three-piece. That was the first time of me singing and playing guitar and just only having a bass and drummer. That's it. But yeah, I wanted to capture it, so I captured it raw. I have it on a disc, but I also with this one I'm always writing stuff, so I didn't really have time to do another full length. So we did. There's a couple singles that are bonus tracks in it.
Excellent. At this point, do you think you were able to create a brand with Vanik?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep the character, like the Vanik, the face, this guy, the mascot, always represented on the records. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still going to keep doing it. I'm always going to do it when I have time, Mm-hmm. I have a studio. I like to draw pictures, so that'll go as long as my hand falls off.
You're about to play a show in Milwaukee, and from what I understand, it's going to be a different presentation than what you did before, right? Can you explain what that's going to look like?
Yeah, I'm doing, I've always wanted to do it I'm going backwards.
Regression.
Regression. Sorry, guys. Everybody wants to move forward in the world. I'm moving backwards. No, I'm just doing it all myself. It's more of a challenge to see if I can. I'm trying a little different couple production elements with this one, with lighting. I actually have Miss Nina Vanik helping me out on this one, which will be fun. So I'm playing along to the track, singing and playing. I'll have a TV playing. I compiled some footage. I had a guy named Tim Hale help me with the footage along with Nina, with the songs. So we got everything lined up with the songs. So it's mainly for production. I just wanted to try a couple things out and see what happened.
Cool. What's next?
Well, I guess we neglected one that I didn't release on CD or vinyl yet, just because times have been crazy with the LPs being longer as far as the wait times of getting them. But Entrails and Thrills was a release I did last year. Just went to tape. Initially, the idea was to do a split release with myself. Side A being metal tunes, side B being Halloween tunes. So that's what that one was, and it just only came out on a cassette. I'm gonna do an LP of that next year is the plan. So next year the plan is to actually make sure everything's back around on LP. Vanik 1, that one, and whatever else.
Keeping in mind, you mentioned Halloween several times. Did you ever consider maybe doing special Vanik shows on Halloween?
Yeah, it's weird though because it always seems that we're touring in October. October is a great time to tour, so I would love to. I've had this grand Halloween show idea for the longest time, but it just hasn't been able to materialize yet.
Well, maybe one day it'll happen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you very much.